A well-deserved honor for one of the Lions' stars.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening, everybody? Matt Dery with you, Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. We are with you on a Wednesday, November 12th into Thursday, November 13th. Thanks for making us your first listen. Checking us out wherever you get your podcast, the legendary, the great one, Ross Tucker. He of CBS Sports, Westwood One, former NFL offensive lineman, the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Going to join us momentarily on the show. Ross is based out of Philly, knows the Eagles, does their preseason games, and is going to join us to talk about Lions and Eagles. He was on the call of Monday night's win for Philly in Green Bay on the Westwood One radio network. He's going to join us momentarily here on the program on this Wednesday edition, brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Follow us on all social media platforms. Don't forget, Crossover Thursday tomorrow. Louis DiBiase, the host of Locked On Eagles, and I will do the show tomorrow. All right, news of the day. Let's get to that before we get to Ross Tucker. First and foremost, an award and a much-deserved and well-deserved honor for Jahmyr Gibbs. Do we talk enough about how good number 0 is, how lethal he is, how explosive he is? Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the NFL right now. He's going up against Saquon Barkley this week. The Lions travel to Philly for Sunday Night Football. And this past Sunday, he went off in D.C. 172 total yards of offense, 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 through the air. He can catch the football. He outruns people. Jahmyr Gibbs today was named the NFC's Offensive Player of the Week. This dude is that good. And I understand, Lions fans love David Montgomery. David Montgomery did a great charity event last night that I had one of our everyday listeners, Michelle Choice, Fogo DeJean was there. And everybody loves David Montgomery. But Monty's great. All right, he's an awesome running back, and he's tough between the tackles, and he's a leader, and he's a veteran. But the Lions have something special in Jahmyr Gibbs. He's just a game changer. There's a reason why the Lions lost to the Vikings a couple of weeks ago. Yes, the play calling was bad. Yes, the Lions were sloppy. Yes, the Lions had 10 penalties. Jahmyr Gibbs had 30, 40 yards of total offense. This past Sunday, he was over 170. He killed it. He ran for 140, 30 yards receiving, whatever it was. NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He's that good. He's special. He's got to be on the field. They've got to find a way to get him the ball in space. You see what Saquon did in that Monday night game. Just that spin move and in space changed the game for Philly in their win over the Packers. Jahmyr Gibbs is a game changer, period. And, getting that honor is awesome. You look up right now and you go, all right, who are the best backs in the league? Jonathan Taylor's having an MVP year for the Colts. Jonathan Taylor is good out of the backfield catching the football as Jahmyr Gibbs? No, he's not. And I know Taylor went crazy, over 200 yards in the win this past weekend, but you can make a case he's the best back in the league. And he's just so damn good. So excited to see what's next for Jahmyr. And Sunday night in Philly, maybe he's the difference in the game. Against a very good Eagles defense. That's number 1. Number 2, 2 players coming off injured reserve have returned to practice today on Wednesday for the Lions, and their clocks have started. They have 21 days now to decide what to do with DJ Reed and Marcus Davenport. Yes, I said it. Marcus Davenport was at practice today. Whee! You just never realize that he's on the team sometimes because he's been injured for all these years. But yes, to get an additional edge rusher back, to get Davenport back, DJ Reed coming back, would be absolutely monstrous for this organization. Neither is going to play this Sunday. It's not going to take this little time to start their clocks and have them ready for the Eagles game. but the Lions have survived without their best cornerback for the past few weeks. Amik Robertson has played really well. Terrion Arnold, we've seen improvement there. Other guys have stepped up. We remember the Tampa Bay game, which Nick Whiteside and Arthur Mollett were starring roles, but this team is not going to make a Super Bowl run without DJ Reed out there. He's really, really good. Was having a really, really good year before he injured his leg, and now those clocks have started. So the Lions have a couple weeks to decide, when they can put him back in the active roster, when they can play, and then have to make a corresponding roster move. The team didn't have Kirby Joseph to practice today. Aiden Hutchinson sat out. This is just, I'm not sure Kirby's going to be ready to come back this week. You hope he is. It's only Wednesday. But you add Davenport and Reed back to this defense. I'm excited. I'm excited about what's coming up for this team as they play game 2 of 3 straight against the NFC East. And who knows, next weekend when the Lions face the Giants, we could be seeing Jameis Winston, because he's going to start this week for the Giants because Jackson Dart's got the concussion and Russell Wilson sucks. So there's that. Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Westwood One CBS, going to join us coming up next here on a Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions. Locked On Lions is sponsored by BetterHelp. As the days get shorter and the nights come earlier, it can start to feel a little heavier, especially when life is already packed with work, family, and everything else. This season, it's so important to reach out and check in with friends, family, or even yourself. Just like checking on a teammate or reconnecting with someone you haven't seen in a while can lift your spirits, reaching out for therapy can also make a real difference too. BetterHelp makes that first step easier by connecting you with a licensed therapist online from wherever you are. All right? Thinking these things through, talking to somebody that's a third party, even for a few minutes, helps clear your head, get you back on track. And really, over 5 million people have used BetterHelp. With 30,000 therapists available, finding support really is just a few clicks away. This month, don't wait to reach out, whether you're checking in on a friend or reaching out to a therapist yourself. BetterHelp makes it simple to take that first step. Listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Because taking that step towards support might just leave you wondering, why didn't I do that sooner? And Locked On Lions also are brought to you by our friends at Supply House. Yes, while the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while our industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. The part finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. All right, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest expert I know on the Philadelphia Eagles, Westwood One, CBS Sports, Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Eagles preseason. Follow him on social medias because I love his videos on the Birds Report and everything on the Ross Report, Ross Tucker joining us here on Locked On Lions. What's up, brother?
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Great to see you, my friend. I was listening. I was driving home from the airport late Monday night. The wife was in the car. We listened to the last few minutes of you and Kevin Harlan's call, and I loved it. You're like, man, 4th and 6, what are they doing? There's a lot of options here. And one of the options you did not have was a deep route to A.J. Brown. It was kind of a wild finish of the night, huh?
It was. I mean, listen, I'm not as up in arms about the decision to go for it as other people are. I think I said, they could kick a field goal. They could punt it. They could go for it, try to end the game, maybe even a quick kick. I don't know that I was expecting a deep shot down the field, but there's actually a lot of logic to that if you think about it. I mean, if A.J. Brown works back to the football, pass interference, and the Eagles win the game and it's over. But, the interesting thing is, even if Valentine gets his head around and he intercepts it, that's great for the Eagles.
Right.
Then the Packers get the ball at the 3-yard line. It's better than a punt. So the only thing that you couldn't have happen there was actually an incompletion, which is the thing that happened. They ended up still winning the game, but I didn't have nearly as much of a problem with it as a lot of other people did. I mean, I can't remember the last time a team punted from the 36. So I guess people wanted them to take a delay game and then punt it, but the Packers could have declined it. So I don't know. It's not as easy as you think to have a punter punt the ball like 25 yards, 30 yards.
I know you're excited. You're calling the game Sunday night for Westwood, which you should. I love that. I'm pumped for this game. I wish we could get to Sunday night. Lions are playing well, off a nice win. Philly's hot, 3 in a row. And as you said on your Ross report, this was the game we were supposed to have last
year. Yeah, it was. It's a kind of a little bittersweet, I guess, in that regard. I think it's the NFC Championship game everyone was expecting, hoping for, looking for back in January. But credit to the Commanders. They went to Ford Field. They took care of business. They got it done. They won the game and then had to travel to Philly. And the game ended up not being very competitive. I'd like to think that the Lions-Eagles conference championship game would have been a lot more competitive than Commanders-Eagles. But as you know, you got to win the games. I mean, you got to play when it matters the most. The Lions have done that really well in primetime over the last 4 years. I think they're like 13-2, maybe best record in the NFL in primetime during that stretch. So certainly the Lions come to play when the lights are on. Feels like the Eagles do also. Certainly they showed that Monday night with the way their defense played, but really looking forward to it. They're clearly, two legitimate Super Bowl contenders, two teams that have played very well over the last 4 years. I mean, they both have been among the elite the last 4 years, and I'm looking forward to them going against each other. I think the last game might have been the first game of 2022.
Correct.
They didn't play 23, they didn't play 24. So yep. I'm glad that they get to play again here in 25.
Tell me about being in the locker room, being on the team. You've played in the NFL, and a change is made like this, where Dan Campbell decides, I'm stripping the OC's play calling duties. I'm taking it over. What's the feeling in the room when the guys get news like that?
So the most interesting aspect of that is I really wonder just how much communication there was about it. I mean, obviously they didn't want that information to leak. It didn't really until the game Sunday when people started to notice that it looked like Dan Campbell was calling it. My guess is the person that I saw first talk about that probably got tipped off before the game, but was told, hey, don't say anything about it till early in the game, which they did. You'd be surprised, Matt, there are times where the players don't even know. I mean, I think the issue is if you don't want the information out, if you tell players sometimes tell their wives, players tell their agents. The agents don't care as much about the success and or failure of the team as they do of their career. So they will tell an insider in order to curry favor with that insider. And if it hurts the Lions a little bit in the next game, who cares? That's not really their problem. So it would seem to me like the Lions kept that very, very close to the vest. So, I don't know, number one, that they even got the news. And if they did, I don't really know what their reaction would have been. I guess if there was some frustration and or disappointment with what had been going on with John Morton, I guess the reaction probably would have been a positive one. But what are you going to do? Stand up and cheer when the guy's sitting there right now still? So, I'm sure Dan Campbell, if he even did mention to the guys, very much downplayed it like he did with the media.
What do you think of what the Lions have looked like this year? I know you've had a chance to watch. You're a tape guy. I know you follow your guy, Alex Anzalone. What's your impressions of Detroit so far?
It's interesting. Feels a little bit like a roller coaster. That they lose that first game, and it was ugly. Yeah. And it was scary because it was the first game without Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. And so you're thinking, uh-oh. Is it over? Did we lose the magic? Then they go on a nice run where they're really looking good, and you think, okay, the Lions are the Lions. And then there's a couple games where, you start to have those concerns a little bit again. Certainly, that Vikings game, which is what prompted the play calling change to Dan Campbell. And then against the Commanders, they look back to what we've come to think about for the Lions. So I'm expecting them to play very well. I'm expecting to see the offense looking like they did against the Commanders, although they are going against a Philadelphia defense that's really good. And now that they added and got guys back, Nolan Smith from injury, Brandon Graham from retirement, the Detroit native, by the way, obviously Jalen Phillips with the third-round pick trade with the Miami Dolphins, who looked fantastic against the Packers on Monday night. It felt like the Eagles' D-line these last couple games is starting to come at these teams in waves like they did last year on their run to the Super Bowl.
It's interesting. Graham Glasgow had a bad game against Minnesota. There was talk about, does Tristan Colon play a little center, left guard? Mahogany gets hurt. Awashika has to play. They manhandled that Commanders front, and that Commanders front stinks. Now this weekend, it's like, I keep saying it. That was the JV. This is the varsity this week. This is Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. Like, these are just two monsters, right?
Yeah, this will be a challenge. And Jomo has played very well this year. He's kind of this year's Milton Williams.
Right.
He's an outstanding young player himself. This will be a challenge for Detroit's offensive line for sure. There were weeks where it looked like the best offensive line in football, even with Frank Ragnow retiring in the offseason. I'm not sure that they've been that, overall this season, or certainly in recent weeks, with the Mahogany injury and more. It's interesting because Awashika was with the Eagles. I do the Eagles preseason games on TV, and they cut him. He was on practice squad. I think the Lions very smartly scooped him up, and now he's a starting left guard. So kind of coming full circle for him in this game. That probably bothers the Eagles quite a bit, that they lost a guy like this that turned out to be a player. But as is the case so often in these matchups, it does feel like the O-line, D-line matchup is probably the most important one, both sides of the ball. Eagles' offensive line is not what it was last year. They've had a bunch of guys in and out of the lineup. We'll see whether or not Cam Jurgens can get back for this one, their center. But just I think with all those guys in and out, they just haven't had the same type of consistency as we've seen from them in recent years.
Ross Tucker with us, CBS Sports, Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Westwood One. He will be on the call Sunday night. So if you're driving around, you have the national radio on. That's where Ross will be. Does such a great job. We love having him on the show. Philly, you're close to it, 7-2. They won 3 in a row. Man, they only scored 10 points the other night. What's up with the offense? But then you look up and go, man, that defense is so good. Where are you on Philly right now?
Well, it's kind of been weird. You think about like the last 3 wins in a row. The Vikings game at Minnesota, that was pretty much all the passing game. Jalen Hurts was fantastic with deep shot after deep shot, especially to A.J. Brown. They did get the ball to Devontae Smith as well. The game after that against the Giants, they rushed for 275. That's the most of any team this year. 2 guys go over 100 yards, Saquon Barkley, Tank Bigsby, and you think, okay, the O-line's back. And then against the Packers, it was kind of neither offensively. Neither one of them played all that great, running the ball or throwing it. But then the defense played outstanding. I think that's probably the best way to characterize this Eagles group is, they're good enough that it can be a different facet of the team that steps up and leads them to victory. And they got a bunch of impressive wins now. The Rams, the Bucks, at the Bucks, at the Chiefs, at the Packers. They have a really tough schedule, and to be 7-2 at this point says a lot about them, especially when it still doesn't feel like they're firing on all cylinders. It still feels like they're just playing pretty good, but not as well as they're capable.
I was listening to you the other night. You made a comment about Quinyon Mitchell, and maybe his PFF grade was lower than I thought. I looked it up. But, boy, is he good, and him against St. Brown this weekend would be fun to watch, huh?
He is fantastic. he has ascended to being, I think, a top 5 corner in the NFL. You know, the thing about Amon-Ra is he spends so much time in the slot that I don't know how much Quinyon Mitchell will be matched up on him, you know, with how they move these guys around. I will say this. When he is in the slot, Cooper DeJean might be the best nickelback in the league. Cooper DeJean is really good. You guys see firsthand what some of those Iowa guys are capable of with Sam Laporta and Jack Campbell. They're just so well coached. I think it was Hooker for the Amani Hooker for the Titans said, man, to make it through Iowa, you got to be a pro pretty much right away, just in terms of your approach, how you go about your business. And that is the case. That is the case for a lot of these Iowa guys. DeJean's been fantastic. That is a really, really fun matchup. DeJean against Amon-Ra.
By the way, I saw hashtag Tuck Spreads. I saw your post. Lambeau Field press box meal looked pretty good, buddy.
It's good. It's typically been top 5 for me. I don't like that they got rid of Coke Zero. That's important to me. I thought that the pork loin was good. I prefer when they have pulled pork and mac and cheese. They call it hack and cheese. I'm a big fan of that. They did not have that, unfortunately. But I did still have 2 brats at halftime. And I said to myself, you only need one. You only need one. I had to. It's just part of it. It's just that good. It's kind of like you need to do it. So, yeah. I don't think Green Bay is going to be number 1 this year, though. The Houston Texans are just outrageous. Houston Texans have taken it to another level, and they care. You know, when I'm doing a game there, they will say, we want to be number 1. They'll send me the menu ahead of time. I mean, it's a goal of theirs, which I respect.
You did smash that chicken shawarma at Ford Field with me a couple of years ago, if you recall.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I told you that would be good.
I like the chicken shawarma. How has the Lions been otherwise?
I've not been up in the box. I'm probably going to go for the Giant game and go up there, but I'll report back for you and let you know how the spread is. It's very important. Hashtag Tuck Spreads. Just go on all social media platforms, guys, and look it up. Ross does an awesome job with it. The food, it's fun. You got to do it. You got to eat when you're at the games. All right, you got something. We talked about it earlier in the year, but you're getting kids involved in football. Take us through that again, because I think it's awesome.
Yeah, so football means a lot to me. And I met these guys that have solved an issue that's been an issue for about 10 years now. And it's that, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, Matt, it is really hard to get kids to sit down and watch a whole football game with you.
Right.
You know, it's not like it was when we were growing up with our dads, where you sit there, you watch the whole Lions game, good or bad. You watch the whole Eagles game, good or bad. These guys I met at the Super Bowl actually a couple of years ago from futurefans.com, they have cracked the code. It's a storybook-led activity box. And all you need to know is to go to futurefans.com. You know, I think it's $60, but if you go there, I think a 20% discount pops up. So now you're at $50, and it'll be like you're getting a Christmas gift or a holiday gift, whatever, for your kid. But really, it's for you. I mean, if it works, and I talked to several people before I invested, and it does work, then you're going to get the gift of having them sit there and watch the Wolverines or the Spartans or certainly the Lions with you every Saturday, every Sunday. That is well worth it. Futurefans.com. You got to check out and see how these guys did it. Futurefans.com.
Ross, have a great call Sunday night, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you on, and all the best.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me, Matt. I really appreciate it.
All right. You're the best. Thanks, Ross. There he is, Ross Tucker, with us here on Locked On Lions. And Locked On Lions for today, brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The NBA is back. No better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of a game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything, from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com. That is FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. I'm wrapping up the program here. Thanks to Ross Tucker for joining us. He's going to be on the Westwood One call as the color analyst on the radio side this Sunday. Check out his Ross reports, Ross Tucker Football Podcast, all of that. As we are back on Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network. Man, always love talking to Ross. I cannot wait. It's funny, St. Brown versus Quinyon Mitchell. And again, if St. Brown's out on the outside, maybe Mitchell will be matched up against him. But Ross brings up a great point, and that a guy like Cooper DeJean, who the Lions, of course, bypassed in the draft. They took Terrion Arnold instead, and the Eagles got DeJean, has played very well in the slot as well. You look up all the numbers, you watch the game Monday night, and you play the eye test game. Philadelphia's linebackers with Bond and Nakobe Dean, and their secondary, their defense is just lethal. It's really, really good. I know the line opened up with our friends at FanDuel at 1.5 for Philly, and now it's up to around 2.5. I've seen it at 3 some places. This is going to be a heavyweight fight. It really is. And if the Lions go into Philly and win, that sends a statement to the league. It really does. Last time the national audience saw the Lions was the Monday night game against Tampa Bay. And it was almost a feel-good story. It was almost all these young guys on the defense and all the guys that were out. The week before in Kansas City, not so good. Now is a stiff test for this team. And we knew going into the season how difficult this schedule was going to be. But talk about if the Lions could end Philly's win streak at 3, hand them a home loss under the lights. That would be some statement. I think the Lions can do it. I really do. I think this is going to be a low-scoring, physical, awesome football game. And Philly's offense, he mentioned Cam Jurgens being injured, Lane Johnson possibly out. Hurts is not playing great. Devontae Smith's having a great year. A.J. Brown isn't. Saquon Barkley is not having the best of years, at least compared to last year. Still a special talent. Goddard's really good. But I'm not sitting here going, man, I'm so terrified of this Eagles offense. What scares me is that defense. It just does. Louis DiBiase, the host of Locked On Eagles, is going to join us tomorrow as we will really bust into this one. Lions and Eagles, the Thursday crossover tomorrow. And, of course, the Thursday crossover is brought to you by Prize Picks. We'll do that tomorrow right here on Locked On Lions. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen. Thanks to our everydayers. Friday, I want a call of the day. Leave a voicemail. Speakpipe.com/Dery, Dery podcast page, and we will play that on Friday.